So you have a passion for fitness and the desire to start your own business. But launching a massively successful fitness business is extremely complex. The systems, operations, hiring, firing, coaching, sales, and marketing are critical to success. Where do you even start? This show will give you the answers. Here is Bedros Keuilian and Bryce Henson, your hosts of the Fitness Franchise Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms.
Hey friends, welcome to episode 000 of the Fitness Franchise Podcast. My name is Bryce Henson. I'm with my co-host, Bedros Keuilian.
Yo.
And we are fired up to launch this podcast, and really this episode is designed to give you an overview. So just a very quick glimpse about myself. My name is Bryce Henson. I am the CEO of Body Bootcamp, and Bedros Keuilian is our founder and founder and now president, which is exciting. And we are shooting the show for a variety of reasons. And I guess first and foremost is because we are in the midst of the worst pandemic in the history of humankind, which is the obesity pandemic. And just to give you some stats on that, here in the U.S., as reported by the CDC, which the information is actually a couple years old. They are delayed in terms of putting this information out, but it's just under 45% of the U.S. population is statistically obese. And what's even scarier is that the projection by 2030 will be nearly 50% of our population. So
how unfortunate is that? Because then as you go to Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Whole Foods, you look at Peloton, you look at all the Mirror, all these different fitness things, diet pills, diet potions, diet powders, new types of gyms, infrared saunas, infrared gyms, whatever. Yet they're predicting that by 2030, just under a decade from now, more than half of the population will be considered morbidly obese. And that morbidly obese puts them in a category of like literally shaving off years from their life. One stat that we have there is that it costs an additional $1,400 a year if you're obese in terms of medical expenses.
Additional medical costs than the average person who's not obese.
Yeah. So imagine that half of the population per year will be spending an additional $1,400 a year by 2030. But never mind the $1,400 a year, because you might say, well, hey, listen, I can make up the $1,400 a year. I'll just cut some expenses here. I'll make a little bit more money there. I could do that. Well, let me ask you this. How much value will you put on the fact that you can't pick up your child or your grandchild because you're obese and you are deconditioned to do that? How much value is there, and how much mental, emotional damage is there to your family, to your child, to your grandchild when you can't go on that long hike with them, when you can't go parasailing with them, when you exceed the weight limit for that trampoline that they want you to play on, that thing that was going to be a real meaningful memory for them. All of a sudden you're like, well, I can't, but I'll watch you play, or I'll watch you swing, because if I sit on that swing, the swing's going to break. And I know this is something that a lot of people don't want to hear me say, but the reality is that the cost far exceeds $1,400 additional per year, because it will cost in regret when you're older on your deathbed. It will cost in therapy for your grandchildren, your children, or whoever. And you're like, Bedros, you're being a little overboard here. You're going overboard. You're being excessive here.
No,
Am I?
No.
Am I? Because what kind of memories are you going to have then? Oh, we just went to places and I watched my child or my grandchild play instead of playing with him or her because I was too out of breath, and I now can't even wear tennis shoes and I have to slip on my flip-flops because, like, just the other day, Diana and I were on date night. It was a Wednesday, and we were at Taps in Brea, and a older couple, you can tell they're probably in their late 70s, early 80s, came in with a young man who's in his early 20s, 22, 23. I kid you not, he was easily 350, 380 pounds, just pouring over the chair. And again, folks, I'm not trying to be crude here, but I'm looking at him from behind. He is pasty white. You can tell his body doesn't see the sun, which tells me that he's not getting much vitamin D. You could tell by looking at him. But Bedros, are you fat shaming? I'm not fat shaming. I'm telling you that his blood pressure, I don't have to be a doctor to tell you that his blood pressure, his heart, is having to work at an excessively strong rate just to be able to pump blood to his head and to his extremities. And the stress and fear and expense that he's costing those grandparents if he lives with them. I just made the connection that he's living with them. And that doesn't have to happen if we all took some kind of ownership on our fitness, on our mental well-being, on our emotional well-being, nutrition, because the medical community is not the ones who are going to do it. It is going to be us, the gym owners. It is going to be us, the optimistic, positive messengers of health and well-being. And there's not enough of us. And that's probably why in 2030, we're going to have a 50% projection of obesity in this country.
Yeah, and it's scary, but it's true. And ultimately, that's the reason we're here, because we need more fitness entrepreneurs, fitness coaches to basically help solve the problem. And to your point, it's a problem that needs to be solved proactively with us and not reactively with the medical community. So, that's our big why, and we'll share our stories here in a minute. But moving on, the format of the show, it's gonna be a variety show. So, first and foremost, you'll have educational riffs, both with B and I, just giving you content, which will help add value to you, learn about the industry, learn how to run, grow, launch, and operate a successful gym. And then the other aspect of the variety show is a few times a month, we'll be doing interview format, and I'll be the kind of lead host in that interview format, ranging from interviewing industry experts to fitness coaches, health coaches, nutrition experts, all the way to transformation stories and success, and then also outside business experts on how to be a better marketer, how to be a better salesperson, operations, legal, hiring, firing, just all the things that go into operating a gym business. So that's basically the format there, and the frequency. We drop one episode a week on Wednesdays at noon Pacific time, and certainly, subject to change as we grow and we evolve, but that's basically the format that we're going to kick off here.
And these episodes are also available on YouTube for those who want to sit back and look at our pretty faces as we speak.
There you go.
All right.
And actually, a shameless plug here, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and write us an awesome review on iTunes, and that way we can keep producing this high quality content for you for free.
And to that point, if you're like, hey, wait a minute, Bryce, you're the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp franchise, and Bedros is the founder and president. Does that mean that as you help us figure out how to decide what kind of gym we want to open, find the location, build it out, open it, do the marketing, the sales, become a better leader and hire the right team and work on becoming profitable? Does that mean that process you're going to try and sell us a Fit Body Bootcamp franchise? Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we're going to do. If we can prevent you from working with another franchisor who does not deliver the level of support, does not deliver the level of marketing, deliver the level of leadership and development of team and product, so that you actually have a system to follow and a process to replicate. Yes, we are absolutely going to do everything we can as we educate you, inform you, and win your trust to see if we can convert you if you're going to be a good fit as a Fit Body Bootcamp owner. And listen, if you're like, hey, but I don't want to do any kind of franchise, I want to have my own gym, it's going to be Bob's Fitness Gym. Great. Well, Bob, you heard the stats. By 2030, we are projected to have 50% obesity in this country. That means Bob's gym must be successful so that the next time there's a lesser pandemic, because as Bryce said, the real pandemic is the obesity pandemic.
That is the real one.
The lesser pandemic was the coronavirus pandemic. That virus, while it, had its way with society in terms of killing people and putting people in the hospital, the majority of businesses that it killed was poorly run gyms and poorly run restaurants. And you might be like, but my restaurant gym had no choice. You could have pivoted. If you're a great leader, a great marketer, a great operator, you could have pivoted from a in-person gym to an online gym, just like many of our Fit Body Bootcamp locations did. Mm-hmm. And you could have then gone to a hybrid when we were at 25, 35, 45% capacity. And so if you're like, yeah, but I just didn't know what to do, so instead of fighting or anything else, I just kind of froze. There was no flight, there was no fight, I just froze. Well, guess what? Then Bob, or whoever your gym is going to be, we're here to teach you how to be an effective leader, because the next pandemic is coming, the next winter is coming. And as entrepreneurs, we must be prepared for winter. And we can't just go, hey, I can only thrive when the season is good, when it's spring and summer, because truth is, while we will have plenty of spring and summers, the next winter is coming, and when it does, we need you to thrive.
Yeah, amen to that. And really to reinforce that point, and to your point, just driving the value home, we do want to prevent you, assuming that you're looking at some other concept or whatnot, from making a mistake. And we're just onboarding a gentleman named Chris who's coming into our ethers, and he was a part of a big fitness brand. We're not going to name any names. And as it turns out, as he shared with us, he actually was following the Fit Body Bootcamp playbook. As we navigate through the pandemic, all the support, the resources, the coaching, the train in place modality. So we want to prevent you from making potentially a big mistake and welcome you into our ether. So that is the name of the game.
So in addition to the format and obviously dropping one episode per week, just a bit of our stories, and I suppose I can go first. I'm an immigrant to this country. I come from the communist Soviet Union. We escaped and defected communism when I was 6 years old and came to the United States. And my dad was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party. And of course, he denounced communism, and here we are. We're all about capitalism and being able to solve problems in exchange for money. One of the greatest, most fulfilling problems you can solve is to be of service to others. And we know how many fake and phony offers there are for burn fat quick and quick fat loss results out there, whether they come in the form of the next best-selling book or the next infomercial product or cream or pill, potion and powder, or gym that says, hey, just come in here, once or twice a week and do your, spin class under these infrared lights, and it's the equivalent of working out 9 times a week. Well, that's all BS. And so the reality is you're going to have to come into a gym 3 to 5 times per week. You're going to have to eat clean. You're going to have to keep a positive mental attitude. And when a life ambush happens where you kind of get derailed either on a Friday night or on a weekend, or maybe you just had a bad day on a Tuesday and you decided to eat a bag full of bagels like I used to when I was a young man, and then regret it the next morning, you have to be able to get back on track. So for me, I was an overweight and out of shape young man. I completely transformed mentally, emotionally, when I lost 35 pounds in my senior year of high school. My goal, of course, at the time was to be able to take Nakaya to the prom. I wanted to ask this girl Nakaya to the prom. And I figured if I lose weight and I'm in better shape, the probability of her saying yes was higher. Little did I know that while my body transformed, the biggest transformation came in my headspace and in my heart in terms of confidence, self-esteem, self-image, and of course how I thought about myself. And so all I wanted to do was help one more person do that. And so my journey of becoming a fitness professional began. And I started working as a personal trainer in a big box gym, had a couple of side jobs just to make ends meet, and ultimately ended up, with the help of a mentor, opening up my first gym, Premier Results, back in the early 2000s, way early 2000s, 2000, 2001. But of course that led to then, opening a couple more and ultimately selling those. And when the economy crashed in 2008 with the housing market crash, I came up with this idea of taking that outdoor boot camp and bringing it indoors and seeing if we can serve many people with one trainer instead of one-on-one personal training, going to group training. Hence our business model, Fit Body Bootcamp, was born. And with hundreds of locations now worldwide, I'm just absolutely proud of not only our team here at HQ, but the hundreds of locations worldwide throughout US and Canada. And that's kind of the story and the mission that I'm on, is to help just one more person achieve the transformation that I had, mental, physical, emotional, on every level. And of course, your story is as equally as powerful too.
Yeah, love that, B. For me, I come from very humble beginnings, similar to you. Came from, my first home was actually a trailer park in the deep south of the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. And came from a family, broken home, which many of you can relate to. My dad was an alcoholic, a drug addict, a gambling addict. It was verbally and then became physically abusive to my mom. So we escaped to the Midwest, where I, finished out my latter part of grammar school, high school, and college. And certainly, I, have deep fond memories of the Midwest, not necessarily the fitness capital of the world. So when I was 21, I accepted a job opportunity in Los Angeles, California, and certainly was excited to be the beach and the palm trees. But the reality set in. I was 3,000 miles from home, very little professional skills that could add value to the world, and I certainly wasn't in shape. I wasn't obese, but I was about 20 pounds heavier of body fat, less 20 pounds of muscle, and I had a lot more depressed days than I did positive days. And thankfully, by the grace of the higher power, ended up a good friend of mine moved to Southern California who wasn't on the cover of Men's Health, but he could have been. And he was like the fitness guy in college. All the girls looked up to him. He had this confidence, this swagger. And I thought to myself, I want to be like this guy. And we ended up living together for a few years. And after about 3 or 4 months, I finally mustered up enough courage, because I didn't know anything about eating clean and nutrition and working out. I asked him if he'd, take me under his wing. And he, took a step back and he said, Bryce, dozens of guys have always asked me this. I certainly will, but we're going to follow this regiment, and you need to give me at least 90 days. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. And sure enough, I did. And I followed the plan. And over a period of 6 months, back in early 2007, stripped 25 pounds of body fat, put on 25 pounds of muscle. And B, to your point, as we know, fitness will give you the aesthetic look, that physique, but it does way more than that. It changed my life.
Yeah. It is the gateway drug. Fitness is the gateway drug to personal development, self-development.
Oh, amen.
It absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I got my start, being a fit guy. But it wasn't until about 2009 when then people started asking me at the gym, like, hey, Bryce, how do you eat? How do you train and whatnot? And this light bulb went on that, like, shoot, this has actually changed my life. I'm so passionate, literally, about fitness. Not necessarily fitness, but what it did for my life, speaking to your point about being a gateway drug. So I thought to myself, you know what, I could probably, train some clients on the nights and weekends. I had a successful sales career, which was, I guess, hyper-volted with my transformation of fitness. I went from one of the lowest performing sales rep to the highest performing sales rep of the company. So I was good there, and it didn't really occur to me that I could actually make fitness like a full-on lifestyle. So I did what probably every trainer would think of, and I got certified through, and I found the best accreditation, the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And after I went through that process, I flipped my, Facebook profile and to a certified personal trainer, and I started receiving ads from this guy right here. So that's how my first instruction came, but this is about 2009, but it wasn't until 2012 when I ended up launching my first Fit Body Bootcamp location. And since then, we have scaled to 5 locations, now have 2 with my consolidated focus here at HQ, now being recently awarded the CEO position, which super grateful and excited for. But as B and I were talking about this, from the gap of 2009, 2012, I look back and certainly, I was been remiss if we had if there was a show like this providing the value, the content, to be able to equip fitness entrepreneurs, to equip me with the building blocks to basically have more confidence to launch a fit body earlier. Holy smokes, I would have shaved 3 years off. So as we were talking, we thought it only makes sense to shoot this show so that we can add more value to you, our audience, and really, help inspire more fitness entrepreneurs to help, beat this massive obesity pandemic, which is the real pandemic we're against. So
well said. And if anyone's wondering to themselves, like, so wait, why are you guys doing this for free? Because this great content in all these episodes that you guys are giving away is valuable. We're both believers of filling up that goodwill bank account first. And if we can fill up that goodwill bank account, come with the giving hand. Maybe, just maybe, if you see that we might be aligned in core values and intensity. God knows you and I are very intense, and our team is very focused and intense. And if you're one of those intense people that are driven and you're like, I got this passion to serve and help people, and maybe turn that 2030 prediction into a lie. Like, how great would it be if instead of in 2030, the country goes to 50% obesity, we actually drop by 10% and we go to like 30%, right? Obesity instead of 50%. Like, that would be fantastic, because it's going to be folks like us who get it done. And so we are here to fill up that goodwill bank account with free content, but make no mistake about it. We love our brand. We know what we're all about. We're proud of our brand, and we know the results that it produces, both financially for our franchise owners, and both in fulfillment for the communities that they serve and the results that they deliver. So We are going to ask you to look into Fit Body Bootcamp if you do want to open up a gym that's successful, that's kind of paint by numbers. And if you're like, hey, opening up a Fit Body is not my thing, but I'm still going to listen and I'm still going to enjoy, well, welcome. Awesome. Please stay, enjoy, and we expect nothing of you other than to be successful and help us as a unified front, whether you're a Fit Body or any other brand, to fight who our real competitors are not your fellow gym owners. By the way, your real competitors are McDonald's and Taco Bell and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, the Mars candy bar company, Hershey's candy bar company, and Frito-Lay, and gosh, Doritos has 2 scientists, and I met one of them, working for them. And these scientists, their only job is to have a Dorito break down just right in your mouth to tantalize your taste buds to get you to reach for another one, to keep that addictive behavior going, right? And so when you think who really are your competitors, they're not other gym owners. Your competitors are these fast food joints who make it so easy and convenient to get fat by consuming sugar and trans fat and the most overly processed carbs on the planet. So with that, sit back and enjoy. Any words to wrap up with?
No, my friend, you said it well. Excited to be on the ride here in this mission, and we need people like you to help combat this big problem we have with obesity as we hit on. So without further ado, again, if you'd be so kind to go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, write an awesome review on iTunes, so that way we can continue to provide this content for free. Thank you.